Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Rush Roots. Today we have Adam. So, Adam, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, yeah, my name is Adam Balley. My wife Julianne and I started the Rush Discush podcast. We're based out of Rexburg, Idaho, a little town that's about to get very, very cold and snow covered. Now, yeah, just raising up a couple crazy kids and with the third one on the way.
Oh wow, yeah. So you stay quite busy. So I will not mention to you that it was about 76 degrees here in Dallas today. I won't say that.
Oh, we moved from Dallas actually. We moved in 2020.
Yeah, that's right. You know what the weather's like here.
Yeah. I just have to not think about it when it gets super cold.
Yeah.
So you have two kids and you have one on the way. So Getty, Alex, and Neil?
Not quite.
Not quite.
No, we didn't go that far.
All right.
So Dirk, Lurks, and Pratt? No.
Yeah.
Getting there, yeah. All right. So why don't you tell us how you heard about Rush? What got you into them and what kept you around? Tell us your Rush roots.
Yeah. So I was actually raised on, at the very least, Permanent Waves. Spirit of Radio was, I can't remember a time that I did not know that song. My mom played it for us. My dad's actually the Rush fan, but then my mom was also introduced to Rush through her brother, and she knew some of the more popular stuff, and she would make mixtapes with some of the songs on there, but the only one that I really remember growing up was Spirit of Radio. And then when I got to be, I don't know, probably about 9 or 10, I started wondering what this band was, kind of looked into it a little bit more, started listening to things here and there. I think Red Sector A was the next real big song that I got into. And then as I got into my teen years, I stuck around because the lyrics really excited my intellect. I didn't really enjoy listening to the mainstream music because I didn't really identify with those messages. But just like most of us who are introverted and don't really know how to relate to people, having someone write lyrics that really speaks to that sort of existence, it really resonated with me, and I became hooked as soon as I started listening to more.
Yeah. That's great.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yes.
All right. Well, why don't you tell us, about your very first Rush show when you saw them live, kind of when, where, and what tour that was.
Yeah, so that was actually July 7th, 2004. They for their R30 tour in Chula Vista, California. We were living in San Diego at the time, and at that point, I was really into 2112. My aunt had actually introduced me to that song, and so then when they started playing that, I freaked out, and it was just I think at that moment I knew I was going to be hooked for life. Seeing them live was just, there's no other experience like it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So you're your dad and your mom and your aunt. So you got a family full of fans then, huh?
Yeah.
And your wife now?
I think I definitely went the furthest into it. But
well, of course you have a podcast, so yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely nice to be able to talk about Rush with family members, because I know that that's not always the case. A lot of times people think you're just a big old weirdo.
Yeah.
But
yes.
This is the exact reason of starting Rush Roundtable, or a podcast or a fan page or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yep.
All right. Well, what was your first favorite song and first favorite album? And does that differ from any favorite song or favorite album that you go back to today?
Yeah. So Like I said, the first song that I ever knew was Spirit of Radio, and that for the longest time was my go-to. Just my absolute favorite song was one of the first songs I tried to learn when I taught myself guitar. Got really discouraged that I couldn't do it at all, and then revisited it a few years later, and never quite got it up to snuff. But yeah, that was a big motivator into getting into the guitar and the bass. And so then Permanent Waves was my favorite album for quite a long time as well. Would just listen to that on repeat. The very first time I listened to it in its entirety, it was on a cassette that my dad had just made of it. And when it got to the end of Natural Science, I thought, surely this can't be all there is. There must be, like, he must have messed up something, didn't record the whole thing. But
yep, that's all it was.
It is the shortest length.
The shortest
record,
album. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the more that I listened, the more that I kind of album hopped. Albums would have just kind of gone in and out of being my favorite. Currently, I would say my favorite song is Hemispheres, Cygnus X1 Book 2. Just from a musical standpoint and lyrical standpoint, I think it's the perfect melding of complexity that's also accessible. Because it's really easy with bands or artists who want to be complex to go in a direction that is extremely hard to stomach at first, and that requires some base music theory knowledge to get into. But I think Hemispheres is a perfect example of being true to your skill and being devoted enough to good songwriting that it's instantly accessible to people who have the interest of sticking around for a long form song. But yeah, that one I keep going back to right now. And then album wise, Vapor Trails is actually currently my favorite. I just love, I think what does it for me is the fact that it is so raw in comparison to so many of their other later albums, because they were just in such a tumultuous state of mind.
Yeah.
You know, none of them were sure if they were going to even stick with it after that. And so just to get the experimentation, I think is awesome. Like with Alex treating the guitar layers, it's almost like a placeholder for the synths. Like his guitars just create such an intricate tapestry that beds in everything else. And so I know a lot of people disparage it for its denseness and for its loudness, but I think for me that's what has endeared it to me, because it is so dense and it requires some time and some digging into.
Yeah, it is a fantastic record.
It is, for sure.
All right, why don't you tell us where people can find you on social media if they want to either reach out to you or listen to your podcast?
Yeah, so our podcast is streaming on just about anywhere that you can get podcasts: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts. We even post the audio on YouTube and Facebook. And then we've got our Instagram and our Twitter handles at Rush Discush. And so you can send us a shout out there. You can email us at rush.discush@gmail. Because we love hearing back from people, especially the people who disagree with us and tell us all the reasons why we were wrong when we picked one song over another. And we enjoy that, because I mean, that was the whole reason why we started our podcast, is we wanted to start more discussions about the songs, maybe dig into some songs that people don't listen to as much. And yeah, it's just a great time.
Yep.
Awesome.
It's a lot of fun to listen to. I'm getting into it myself, and I'm if I'm in the car listening, or if I'm listening here or whatever, I'm working, and I'm yelling at you guys like, no, don't pick that song, like it's a sports event or something. All right, cool. Anyone who wants to come on and share their Rush roots, anyone watching, feel free to email us at rushfans@rushfans.net, and we will have you on. And again, check out Adam and his wife's podcast, the Rush Discush. Like you said, wherever you find your podcast, wherever you like to listen to your podcast. So with that, we will wrap. Adam, thank you. Jim, thank you. And everyone, take care.